You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I'm Refocused Radio, man. We are here once again, and today we have another show lined up for y'all. We're going to talk to amazing, just author, brand consultant, coach, and publicist, the one and only Chrissy Bernal. She is doing great things. You can check out her website, chrissybernal.com. If you want to grow your brand, if you want to really just go to the next level, you want to sit back and relax and listen to the show. First and foremost, Chrissy, I just want to say thank you for your time, taking your time, your busy schedule, to talk to us today, and how you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here. I'm doing great. I'm just ready to share any info I can.
So, man, for today's topic, we're going to talk about branding, marketing, and messaging. And that's something I think a lot of people in this world really want to dive into. So many people starting businesses, becoming entrepreneurs, having side hustles. So this is a great opportunity for us to dive into that. But before we do just that, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got into doing all this.
Sure, absolutely. And hopefully my dogs don't bark. We have 3 Great Danes, believe it or not. We're crazy people. And, this time of the afternoon, sometimes Amazon comes by or whatever. So I apologize if they do. I'll try and mute. But so I got my start because my unique identical twins got thrust into the global spotlight. And this was when they were about 10 or 11 years old. And I knew inside, after already having experience with marketing and branding and PR, that I needed to harness the global PR that they were getting. And, it doesn't happen for everyone. And this was, before social media was really big too. So I was like, oh, we gotta roll on this. And so I just built their brands for each of them. And now, fast forward 13, 14 years later, and they both have really strong personal brands and are doing their own things. And so I took what I learned doing that for them, and then for myself as well as an author, myself. And I took that along with my formal education in mass communications and journalism and used that to come up with a roadmap to help other people get their brands in line so that they can grow with less stress and more intention, because I know how stressful it can be on that journey to being known. And so I want to help other people not experience the stress that I did.
Right. And also, I wanted to point out you have another website. I know I gave you the first one, chrissybernal.com, but you also have beabetterbrand.com.
Yeah.
And you being an author and having just the experience that everyone can learn from, what's some of the basic building blocks for an author and a brand to really put themselves in a position where they stick out from the mass of everyone else out there? Yeah,
that's a great question, because it is kind of hard with how much social media has grown. There's a lot of noise out there. So you really have to, set yourself apart, or you're just going to get drowned in all of the noise out there. So one thing you need to do, especially if you're an author, you need to go ahead and get that strong personal brand. It is very hard for an author to make any headway if they don't have a personal brand or a brand as a company or some sort of strong brand that people can go, oh, yeah, I know that. Oh, I know that about them. I already know them. I trust them. I like them, that sort of thing. So you have to establish that. And what I find a lot of people struggle with when trying to establish their brand is clarity. That they feel like they're all over the place. And I know this from personal experience too, that when you're first trying to define what your brand is, you're just kind of sitting there, and if you're typing it out, you may be looking at that blinking line, blinking cursor on your document going, I don't even know where to begin. So, the one thing that I tell people to start with is start with your vision. Where do you want to go? Like, get specific, not just, oh, I want to have a big company, or I want to build an empire. No, get specific. Go ahead and write that down. What do you vision for your future? And then keep that somewhere where you can look at it all the time. And then the next thing I want people to get clarity on is their messaging. And so when you get clarity on your messaging, that's going to force you to actually figure out what it is you do and what it is you are going to do for people as far as solve their problems. And a lot of mistakes that I see people doing is they start out their messaging with talking about how awesome they are or all the experiences they have, when really we're pretty selfish people, we're humans. We want to know what's in it for us. So you take that message and really narrow it down to what problem are you solving, and even further, what emotion are you going to make the person feel? So let's say that a person is, frustrated before they come buy your product or your service. Then you can focus on letting them know you're going to make them not frustrated, or they're going to be overjoyed, or they're going to be excited, some sort of emotion, because we actually do make most of our decisions out of some sort of emotion. Even if it's ever so slightly, there's some sort of emotion that's underlying in there. And so that's why I tell people, get that messaging clear on what it is you actually do. And I remember when I first started out, somebody asked me, and it was so embarrassing because this was a big time speaker. He's been on The Undercover Billionaire. So, he was a big thing. And I had the opportunity to be in this mastermind with him. And there was only about 15 of us there. And he asked me what I did. And I rattled off all this stuff. And he was like, I still don't know what you do. I was mortified because I thought, oh my gosh, I had the opportunity to learn from this guy and, make an impression. And now he thinks, oh, this lady has no idea what she's doing. So after that embarrassment, that's when I was like, that's what I need. I need the clarity on what I do, and I need to make it simple so that I'm not rattling off a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, I could imagine how that would feel. I think a lot of people who are honest can say they've been there. They when you're trying to develop your core brand, your core message, I think we all have been there where it's like, who are you? What will you do that to? And with that said, based on your experience, because you also did things in college as well as being editor and stuff, how did those things help you build your message and your core of who you are as far as your core values with your image?
Nice. You did your homework. Good job. Nice. Yes. In college, I actually learned a lot, and I actually went through a really, really rough my whole 20s was incredibly rough, particularly because of my twins. One of them has a lot of medical issues. And so her early years were really, really difficult. And I was still in college while dealing with her medical issues. So that was a lot for somebody to juggle at that age. But being the editor of the newspaper really taught me how to communicate well. It taught me how to be succinct in communication, because you can't just keep going on and on and on. You only have so many words you can do in an article. So you need to just, get straight to the point and make sure you're covering it all within those, 8 to 1,200 words, depending on, this was again, back when we had actual newspapers. So that's how long I've been in the game. I've been in it for a while. But yeah, I learned a lot. And honestly, my PR professor that I had in school, she was one of those professors that scares the crap out of you because she's so hard on you, but she's only doing it because she sees something special in you. And so I really, really, I absorbed everything she taught me. And she's, I tried to find her. I can't find her now. I really wish I could tell her the impact that she made on me, but maybe one day.
And once again, listen to I Am Refocused Radio, talking to Chrissy Bernal. And you can go to her website, beabetterbrand.com, and also chrissybernal.com as well. When people are trying to strategize, okay, what's the next step? I have my core message, I have my brand, but now it's getting in front of people and not being bashful and not being shy about it. What is that first general pace, if you will, for a person to really start pushing their their actual image out to the world so that they can understand where they're coming from?
That's a great question. Great question. Well, when somebody's just starting out and trying to push their brand out there, I want them to narrow it down to about 3 to 5 things that they're going to talk about. So make sure that, you've already done your messaging, so you kind of know what your wheelhouse is, what your buckets are. And if you don't know, one of the exercises I did was I posted on social media and emailed out to my email list. I want to know 3 to 5 words you would use to describe me. And that was really enlightening because it helped me see, okay, here's how people see me. So this is what my buckets should be. And another thing you can do to try and figure out your buckets is really sit down and think, okay, what questions do people ask me over and over and over? So that's I got that one from my friend Chrissy. She's amazing. And she suggested that I do that in the beginning of my career too. And I was like, oh, well, duh. Yeah, these are the questions that I get over and over and over. So clearly that's one of my buckets. And then, as you start to put your message out there, it will change a little bit because you'll start to see what resonates and what doesn't, and it's okay if you put out something and it doesn't resonate. That's just giving you information. That's not a failure. That's just feedback. And that's information that you can use to pivot and go, okay, well, that didn't resonate well. Let me tweak it a little bit and see if I can get it to resonate better. But when you get those buckets in line, that's going to make sure everything stays on brand, as they say. And so if you're only posting about those 3 to 5 things on social media, only commenting about those 3 to 5 things, if you're in like a professional group or something, so that way when people hear your name, they automatically think one of those 3 to 5 things, not, oh, I have no idea who this person is because I hear them talking about all this stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I think a common mistake is people, including myself, that's me. You try to cover a lot of things and not really zone into like actually your brand and what your brand's all about. Because I think what it is, you made a point where sometimes you don't get any feedback or you just don't get as much traction and likes and reposts, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, you have to be careful not to go away from who you are, because we might try to hopscotch into something that seems to be trending instead of like being true to who you are and just make that better. We kind of lose ourselves in the mix because the market is oversaturated with other great brands as well. And we are trying to compare ourselves to be like them versus how can we just make ours seem a little bit more better and clearer?
That's a very, very good point. I hear that a lot from people that they're overwhelmed too, trying to get on the TikTok dance trend or something like that. And I tell people, you know what? If you hate TikTok, don't do it. I mean, if it's not true to who you are, don't do it. And if you maybe don't have a whole lot of time to sit there and do all the TikTok dances, that may not be your journal. Or can't dance. I don't want to do the dances. I don't want to point to things. So I like having actual conversations with people. But if you don't have time to sit and do all the platforms, pick the one where your audience is and do that one the best you can. Like, do that one. Make it the best that's out there, try and just hone that in. And then once you've got that one dialed in to where you're like, yeah, I've got a great profile on this one, my interactions popping, all of this stuff, then maybe branch out to another one or hire somebody else who can kind of help you to get some more posts on other platforms. But you don't have to do it all. It can be very overwhelming. And sometimes people will just not do it at all because they're like, oh, if I can't do it on all of them, I'm just not going to do it. So, yeah, don't be afraid to just, focus in on the one that you can do the best.
Once again, talking to Chrissy Bernal. You can go to her website, beabetterbrand.com, and also her second website, chrissybernal.com. And today we are talking about what everyone likes to talk about, and that's branding, marketing, and messaging. And when it comes to marketing your business and just you, we hear a lot about certain times of the day we got to post, and it's like, speaking of being overwhelmed by what you have to do or what people are saying you should do, what have you found is actually like truthful? Does it really matter when you post, or is it more so about what you're posting?
Well, it's both. I'm very data driven because it's you can guess sometimes, but if you look at the numbers are going to tell you what to do. So, like I said, you may think this idea is amazing, and you post it and it doesn't do well. Well, those numbers are going to tell you it doesn't do well, but that could be because you posted it at the wrong time. So that's again where you can look at the numbers. There are a lot of tools out there that let you know when your audience is. And it may not be the same time on different platforms. And you probably have different audiences on different platforms as well. So like on LinkedIn, it wouldn't make as much sense to post something at midnight. But if you have, if you're in the dance scene or a DJ or something like that, then it would maybe make sense to post on Instagram or TikTok or something at midnight, So you just got to consider where your particular audience is. And what I have seen is that like you said, I do see those posts where people will say, oh, Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock is the best time to do that. Maybe not for your audience though. So, it's all about what your audience needs to consume in order for their lives to be better. So you've got to figure out when the best time is for them. And then that's going to work.
And I'm going to really go in because I think a lot of people want to know the secret sauce, and they're going to learn that the secret sauce is really just knowing what your brand is and what your audience likes versus what the mass audience may like or whatever.
Exactly.
When it comes to running ads like Facebook ads, Google ads, what's some of the best practices for someone just starting out to kind of test the waters before they start writing that big check?
Sure, absolutely. You know what? I have run Google and Facebook ads and Instagram ads and all the ads for a variety of people in industries. And I always start out with just a few dollars a day because, again, you got to see what's going to resonate. And so don't waste a ton of money. And I hear this from a lot of my experts in the field as well. They say the same thing. Oh, don't start out with $100 a day. Start $3 to $5, just kind of test the waters. Now, if you're going on LinkedIn, that's going to be a little bit more expensive than that. LinkedIn tends to be a little bit more expensive, but don't start with a super expensive budget. Just test it. Let it run for at least a couple weeks, 7 days to a couple weeks. Then look at your numbers, see what's happened. Okay, and do some A/B testing within that where you have the same creative but different verbiage, or the same verbiage but a different creative, and run those against each other at just a couple bucks a day. See what's happening. Now, if you have a smaller audience and you're not able to get much reach with that budget, you may have to let it run a little bit longer so that Facebook can start to learn, or Instagram or Google can start to learn what your audience is. So it may take a little bit longer for a smaller brand. But again, just look at the numbers, be patient. It's not going to be I'm going to post an ad, it's going to get out to 1 billion people, and I'm going to get thousands of calls. That's not the way it works. Facebook and Google have to learn what your audience is going to do and what they need. So just be patient.
And that's the key, because I think, I must say again, me, including myself in this, I think a lot of people get frustrated because man, Google is so big, YouTube is so big. Why am I not getting results like so-and-so? But then again, so-and-so probably did their homework and found their little community and started to grow on that base.
Exactly.
Instead of just wishing that you just go viral or whatever. Because I think going viral is fine, but that shouldn't be everyone's goal. The goal should really just be, how can I cater to my specific niche and my community in that niche, so that way they are growing my community for me.
Right.
How is it possible for entrepreneurs, business owners, to make sure that their brand has a community that is helping your brand grow, so that you're not really doing the heavy lifting at a certain point? Your fans are doing it for you.
When you give a lot, I really lead with a value mindset. So I want to provide value first and foremost, and then the right customers will come to you. And there are experts out there who say don't lead that way. But you know what? That's what resonates with me. That's what aligns with my values. So I'm going to lead that way. I'm going to lead with a value mindset. So I try and provide value. And then, it happened actually just this week. I had a couple of people in my community share my posts and tell them how awesome I was, tell their audience how awesome I was. And I didn't even ask them to do that or know they were going to do it. It was just a nice surprise. And that just comes from consistently providing value, consistently being that person that they can know, like, and trust. And like, for example, one of mine who I love to tout her all the time, Kat Sullivan, she is the Pinterest queen. So if you need help with Pinterest, go look at her stuff. But, I talk about her all the time because she just constantly is given mic drops, mic drop, mic drop. And, she has wonderful courses, but she gives so much away for free that you get that little bitty like, oh my gosh, if this free content was good, what am I going to see in her paid stuff? Holy cow. So, don't be afraid to actually give value. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to give away all my secrets. Trust me. If there's stuff, like, I could sit here and tell people exactly how to run a Facebook ad, but the majority of them are going to still get frustrated and need to hire somebody eventually once they get big enough. So, never know. I know that sounds frustrating, but I know how overwhelming it is to run the ads. So it's going to take a team, whether that's hiring somebody on your own team to run them or hiring an agency to run them. As you grow, you have to hire people because you can't do it all. As a CEO, especially, the more time you're actually doing your business, the less money you're going to make. But anyway, that was a side note. A person that I would suggest people follow for Google Ads specifically, it's a company called Solutions 8. And they are, again, constantly giving out so much free value that it's know, like, and trust for sure. I mean, this, like, if somebody's following them and then they're like, you know what? Yeah, my ads are getting to where it's too overwhelming for me. I need to grow my team. I need to hire somebody. They're going to be the first people that come to their minds, And I think they just won an award too. But they, like I said, they give away a lot of free content. They're constantly on YouTube, just dropping amazing tutorials and whatnot. And again, they don't hold back. Like I said, they're not afraid to give away the value because they know it's going to come back. It will.
Yeah, I listen to other podcast shows like Gary Vee.
Yeah, of course.
Not a stranger to no one. I think he's very sharp at what he talks about. And it was interesting. He was touching on the topic of like coaches, life coaches and stuff. How I want to make sure I get it right, so I'm going to paraphrase. You can listen to his podcast if you want. But basically, he was talking about leaders, life coaches when they're coaching their client. It's good and probably better if it's short term, because if they are coaching their client, the goal is for them to be better, so that way they don't have to come back.
I can see that for sure.
I refer more people to you because they're like, well, hey, I'm not still needing all the heavy coaching, just minimal now because I'm actually better.
Yeah, I actually worked with one particular brand in mind, and it was for a short time. And we worked hard too. Like that, she did all of her homework and then some. I mean, she was like, I am in this and I am going to make it grow. And so we did a lot in a short amount of time. And she's been one of my great referrals because she saw what happened in that short amount of time. So there was no need for me to, try and drag it on the year, 2 years, whatever. We were able to get stuff done in just several months. And so now, again, it's that value. She's going to be an ambassador for me. And you said, let's see, what else did you say a second ago? It made me think of something with the coaches. Oh, I've had a lot of different coaches myself for different areas. There are different expertises within coaches. I've had coaches who need me to just get out of my own head. There are coaches who can specifically teach you about certain things. Like one of the specifics I coach on is when you're trying to get your book out. That's a very specific type of coaching that not every coach is going to have. So yeah, and again, I'm not going to stick with you for years and years and years as an author coach. No, hopefully we just get your book out and you're on your way.
And the reason why I made that point is because I liked how he broke that down, because I think it's true based on what we are talking about, this whole value system. I think that is more appreciated nowadays, because in today's world, it feels like sometimes it's just sell, sell, sell. And from the customer's perspective, I mean, if I put my customer hat on and I'm shopping, potential, product or services, first thing I'm gonna think about, all right, am I being sold? Is this gonna pick me up and shake me and, empty out my pockets? Or is this business or brand actually gonna change my life? Are they gonna really make an impact? Are they gonna be the reason why I'm like, yeah, thumbs up, everything's perfect, everything's great? Or are they gonna be the one that's like, how can we get another X amount of dollars out of this person? And I think that's an interesting way to think about our brand, because of course everyone wants to eat, everyone wants to sell and make a living, but I think the value system is really undermined. And if people really emphasize on that, man, there'll be referrals everywhere.
It made me think of LinkedIn whenever you said that, because I'm sure if you're on LinkedIn, the second you accept a friend request or connection request, you get the sales pitch, and it's like, come on, don't do that.
I didn't even make a mess. I didn't make a post yet.
Oh, really? Well, if you connect on there, you'll see it's just crazy. And last week I had an actual genuine conversation via the direct messaging in LinkedIn, and it was so refreshing. I'm like, that's what it's supposed to be about. It's networking. But we're not trying to sell each other right away. We're trying to learn, okay, what's a good referral for you? What's good? Here's a good referral for me. Not necessarily try and sell each other. Let's just get to know each other, get to know what we do, and then see where it goes. It irritates me so much when I get these instant connections that people just want to hop on a phone call with me. And I'm like, I know it's a sales call. I'm not stupid. How about you provide some value first? And, if maybe you're thinking, I'm not a thought leader, I don't know how to make these awesome posts, go comment on somebody else's stuff. That's a way to provide value, is commenting on other people's stuff so that you can get their engagement up. Share it, that's a good thing to do when you're trying to build up your own personal brand and increase your reach. Share quotations or share things from other people and just let that person know what impact they made on them. So let's say you shared Gary Vee's Insta or some quotation that he did. Don't just share the quotation, share what value that was to you, tag him in it. And that brings a little bit more of a human aspect to it, shows that you're really trying to give back to Gary Vee as well, again, with the value. And then you never know. He might actually see it. Gary Vee, I'm sure sees a ton, but he might see it and maybe he'll give you a shout out. Who knows? So, again, be a good human, give value, and, just try not to have that take mindset. And I promise it will change your life.
Yeah, because I want to make clear, I know it's important to sell. But
yeah, absolutely.
At the point of what we're discussing with Chrissy is the fact that exploring the opportunity to impact someone's life versus hey, write that check. You don't have to
hustle all the time.
Yeah, it's a balance. And like I said, I'm not billing your net, so don't take my words of advice literally. Do your own homework and test it for yourself. But I just feel like a lot of doors open up quicker and last better. They're more valuable when you have that human aspect of okay, how can I actually grow with this person versus oh yeah, give me that check and cash and it's okay if that's how you think of things, but I think you really can get people really talking about your brand a lot more and more frequently when they know that, hey, this person right here, they're not just good at what they do. I learned some more stuff from that person. I mean, I mentioned Gary Vee on this show. He's not on this show. Like one day, that'd be cool. But it just proves that what he gives on his show and his podcast is adding value, because that's why I know my podcast is growing, because I listen to people like Gary Vee. Grant Cardone's another one. I don't know nothing about real estate, but I listen to his stuff because the way he talks and the way he breaks things down, and he talks about life. And I think if more people did that with their brand, people know you now, because it's like, okay, you're not just someone who's going to turn me over, and shake me and tell around my pocket for you to put in your bank account. I think people appreciate that. Now, when you get to the level where you are going to sell, yeah, do that. But what's your opinion on that, Chrissy? What's the balance?
Yeah, I like to approach it with an 80-20 rule. And so 80% of the time I'm providing value, and 20% of the time I'm asking for business, asking for the sell. And you don't need to be afraid of asking for the sell either, because you've already provided a lot of value. So it's okay to ask for the sell. And, people aren't going to buy from you unless you ask for the sell. Sure, maybe it happens, but the likelihood of it is quite diminished if you don't actually ask for it. And that actually made me think of, on people's websites, a lot of times they don't have a call to action. And so they're like, I don't know why nobody's filling out my form or buying my widget or whatever. And then I go look at their site and there's no call to action. I'm like, well, you didn't tell me what to do. You didn't ask for the sell. I have found that now in my journey, now that I'm clear on who I am, what I do, who I serve, that sort of thing, and I lead with the value, I used to be so petrified of asking for the sell, asking for money, telling people what I charge. Now I don't have a problem, because I know that I provide so much value that person is indeed going to get a great bang for their buck when they work with me, because I have so much clarity and I know that I am going to give them their money's worth. So I don't have a problem asking for the sell, and I don't have a problem saying what I charge. And that only came from all the years of knowing that I provide value, and recognizing, oh, look, I did provide a lot of value. I'm not just out there asking. So I am making an impact in people's lives. So it's okay for me to embrace my worth and go ahead and ask for that sell. I know that was kind of a roundabout way of it, but sometimes it's Friday afternoon. I know this is going to go another day, but it's Friday afternoon, so my brain's been going all week. It's like,
No, it's perfect, because, and I know we got to wrap this up, but quickly, I know I mentioned Grant Cardone, but he's another person that he's a little bit more aggressive and talks about getting paid, getting your money. Don't put yourself at this level when you're really at this topper level. Don't sell yourself short. But he also does, like Gary Vee. He talks about the value system, being a human being. Don't just be like a robot that treat everyone like, another transaction. Like it's more than that. It's beyond that. But it's also like what you're saying too, like, value yourself as well. Like, yes, I'm valuable to give you this quote because I have to eat too. I have to make a living too. And this is my respect for myself for not just letting anyone walk over me and treat me like a hobby. I'm a CEO. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna push myself to be the best I can be. Now, someone listening right now and they're like, man, I need to learn more from Chrissy. You have beabetterbrand.com. You give people free strategy calls. What's some of the things that they can do to prepare themselves before they reach out to you?
That's a great question. Honestly, I don't need them to do much to prepare. I ask a lot of questions on our initial call, and that's going to get them thinking in the direction that they need to go. I don't overthink it beforehand, because you'll just stress yourself out. You'll frustrate yourself. And I don't want you, I want you to get into the call in a excited, okay, I'm going to get some clarity out of this, not oh my God, I don't have all the answers. This is not, it's going to stress me out. I don't want that. I'm a very, I'm very energetic, but I'm also very chill at the same time. Because I want you to experience that calm on the journey to being known, because I know how stressful it is to do that. So yeah, no prep. Just come on. There's fly.
Awesome, man. Once again, talking to Chrissy Bernal, and you can go to her website. First one is chrissybernal.com, and the other one is beabetterbrand.com. You've been listening to I Am Refocused Radio, and we've been talking about today's topic, branding, marketing, and messaging. I just want to say, once again, Chrissy, thank you once again, taking time in your schedule, talking to I Am Refocused Radio. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it, Shemaya. And I know we crammed in a lot there. So hopefully they can listen to it multiple times and take some takeaways. Or feel free to hit me up on social if there's some clarity that you need from something.